Okay, Paul Hughes, welcome to the podcast. Good to have you on.
Alright,
Not too bad.
we
So
finally got there.
it took us a long time. It took us 2 weeks of first of all getting organised, and then half an hour to set up the computer, and then about 2 hours to write GAA and Jim on a whiteboard. If you're watching this here, you'll see what we're talking about. If not, we've tried to do a bit of artwork, and it looks like two 5-year-olds have come in and write GAA and Jim on a whiteboard.
It's a thing of beauty, it really
It's
is.
a thing of beauty. It's actually, I don't even think I spelled I've just made squiggles here for H's and stuff. Anyway,
It's a thought that counts.
well, this is it. So, for anyone that's maybe not in the MMA circle, why don't you kind of explain a wee bit about yourself? Give us a recap or
Yes.
introduction to
So
yourself.
for the 99% of people who don't know who I am,
For now,
as this is a GAA gym podcast, obviously.
we're branching out, diversifying.
Exactly. Well, obviously, as you say, my name Paul Hughes. I'm a professional MMA fighter. I'm from Derry, so I'm up Derry, of course. I'm 22. I've been fighting professionally in MMA since I was 19. And my record is 4-0, so all victories at the minute, all first round finishes. So I'm getting there in my career at a 2-year layoff. As I say, I turned pro when I was 19, and I had a bit of an injury layoff with hand fractures, and I was out for 2 years, and then I got back finally at it this year after surgery, and I went 3-0 this year, so I'm back on track again.
Yeah, and you're to anyone who's only listened to this for the GAA aspect of it, you have played Gaelic before. You're a laddie, man.
Yes, mate, I was the biggest guy at Joe Meat back in the day.
And I think you remember you telling me Faham Beale actually retired you.
Don't tell me. I think, if I recall correctly, it was my last ever GAA game was a minor championship. I think it was minor championship in Dungiven or something, and it was Faham Beale that put us out. I think so, and so I've still got a wee bit of beef. So
That's cool. That's cool.
I mean, we can
fight about it later. And your family's obviously big in football. Your brother was in the senior panel last year, and also you're big within Lavian as well.
100%. Like, we are a GAA family. Like, as I say, I was just as successful with GAA as it was with MMA now. That's sort of the personality I have. Is like I'm all in something.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say, like I was my whole childhood up until I actually found MMA and started training at 15. It was GAA. It was hurling, football, like playing for school, playing for county, playing for club. It was literally, I lived and breathed it, and I mean I lived and breathed it like just as much as I do MMA now.
So what led you like getting into MMA? Because obviously Lavi wouldn't be a hotbed of MMA. Like what got you into that?
So there was actually a gym. Apologies to anyone listening, my voice is still a wee bit hoarse.
He was on the sauce.
I was on the sauce. I've been sick for the last 2 weeks, ever since me and Oisin went there about a month
Good
ago.
times, good
I
times.
haven't recovered. But so there was just a small gym that opened up near my house. It was in Castle Dawson. It was only like 10 minutes away, and I always loved watching boxing growing up, and I always loved like Rocky, like things like that, and I always wanted to box, and my mum would never let me because I was just so actively involved in other sports and in GAA, and I also played soccer for Ballymena as well. And as soon as this gym opened up, actually one of my best friends in school, his brother trained there, his older brother, and I was just begging. I was like, please let me come, because I just wanted to try it. And he actually had mats in his garage at the time, so his brother would show us some of the stuff he was learning in MMA. And I was just like, oh my god, this is the coolest shit ever.
Yeah.
Like, this is just the best thing ever. Like, the whole principle of like MMA and jiu-jitsu is like being able to defeat the bigger opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I wasn't very big. You know what I mean? When I was like 15, 16, I was sort of always like the corner forward. I was the wee flashy player until I started sort of getting older, like 15, 16, 17. Then I started like developing, especially with the MMA as well. It helped me. But and then I went down one day, went to the beginners class, and honestly, like after 1 month, I was utterly hooked.
Yeah.
And I just went from completely living and breathing GAA to like 1 month later, thinking I need to pack this in. I need to go all in the MMA, and like I still continued with the GAA, and I played on and off until I was 18, and then after I got my heart broken up in Dungiven that day. We were playing in the championship.
We've done it many a time.
Then that was it. I packed it in. And
Yeah.
now we're here. I turned professional then in MMA that year. So.
Do you ever miss playing football or anything, or hurting?
Of course, mate. How couldn't you?
Yeah.
I always get like a big shock anytime I go back to a GAA game. Like say I'm going to support my brother play or watch Derry or something like that. Every time I go down, and I just can't get over how much people are shouting at the referees. And I'm just like, this is absolutely nuts. Because you come from MMA, it's sort of like martial arts respect and all that there. And then you go down to Owen Beck or whatever, you watch a championship game, and you're like, holy fuck. And then if I'm watching Labby fight, by the end of the game, I know I'm doing the same. I'm like, fuck's sake, referee, too long.
So into it, like, don't you?
100%, like the passion's still there when I watch games like that. Like my team growing up, they won the under 21 championship there last year. I think it was, maybe it was 2
year
years
before we beat us in the final, actually.
Oh really?
Yeah.
There we are. We got you back. But they got to the Ulster final and all, and that was my team growing up. And like I went to watch and support them in every game, and it was just the urge was there. I would have loved see whenever what I thrive most, and I think actually it's probably the reason why I love MMA so much and how I get into MMA is because in games, like I thrived. Like as I say, I was always sort of the smaller guy, but in games I thrived on when the games got tough.
Yes.
Like when I got into the last 5 minutes when it was a draw and people are getting stuck in each other, whether that's hurling or football, like I just thrived in that on people getting stuck in each other and like trying to break the guy I was marking and just always trying to beat him. Like I was always so competitive, even in training and all. Like I just always wanted to be the best. Like I always wanted to perform at my best. And I think that sort of intensity that I loved about GAA is the reason why I love MMA so much. Is because like it's to me it's the ultimate form of competition. Is fighting is getting put in the cage, locking it, and two people fighting. Like to me there's nothing more pure and nothing, no greater competition than that. Yeah. And I think that's sort of why I got the love for it. Like was that intensity.
I had like that last bit of the game, that wee real intense bit, you get that literally from the minute you step in to the minute it's finished.
Yeah, that's it. It's such a rush. Like there's nothing better.
Right. Is there anything else like do you do anything else that gives you a big rush or anything like? You don't do
to be honest, mate, I don't really do much else in my life apart from train martial arts. Do you know what I mean? There's so many different disciplines in MMA. Obviously, you've got like boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo. Like it's really a never-ending process.
Yeah, you're always learning.
Every day is different. Do you know what I mean?
Would you have any that you would be strongest on, or would you say you are a good all-rounder?
To be honest, I was very fortunate that I started day one into an MMA gym, whereas people even a few years older than me, like MMA is like a very, very new sport. Yeah. Like I'm sure everyone knows that. So like people were coming in and they maybe had a boxing background and then somebody else had a wrestling background, and then they were trying to learn the opposite aspect, and then they were going against each other, where it would be like striker versus grappler. Yeah. Whereas I was fortunate just to start day one in MMA, so I'd like to think that I'm pretty competent in every area, just as equally. But if it was a sort of say one area, like as I said earlier, I had an injury streak of handbrakes after my pro debut, and I fractured my hand like 4 times in the space of 1 year. So obviously I wasn't striking with that hand. So I was doing
4 times in 1 year.
4 times in 12 months. Crazy.
And was that just like you healed it and then you went back out and trained and it broke again, or? So
in my debut in Bama, I was in the SSE. I broke my left hand. It was actually I KO'd him in the first round, and the shot that actually dropped him first, I broke my hand at it, but obviously at the time you don't feel it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I broke my left hand there, and it was the first time I'd ever been injured in MMA. Like in GAA, I was getting injured every week. Oh, I've never had an injury in MMA. Still to this day, never had an injury apart from my hands. Yeah. But broke my left hand at that night, and then as I was coming back preparing for another fight, once it healed up, I ended up breaking my right hand, and obviously at the time So you can imagine that was the most heartbreaking thing ever. Finally making your pro debut, working hard for years for it, and actually going viral on my debut, and like having loads and loads of hype and loads of offers from around the world. Like as a 19-year-old from Derry that's just finished playing GAA, like it's pretty surreal. Do you know what I mean? Having that and just getting all these mad offers and all.
What do you mean like offers? Like offers to go and train places or fighting diff cards or?
Offers from promotions to say me. Number one, number two, just mad amount. Like there was 3.2 million people see my debut.
Fuck that video.
3.2 million. So you can imagine the amount of, like, you know what social media is like. I'm sure you get mad messages as well. I know you're a strength conditioning coach, but like I'm sure you probably get mad messages because that's just how it is. It's pretty mad, Instagram, and
it's a weird thing, social media. Like
it really is, mate. It's sort of it's a real eye opener. Like, but like I see 3.2 million people. There's a lot of people were writing me. Like I still get messages from that fight because it's still on my page.
Really?
But as I say, like having two handbrakes in, that was 6 months, and that was the worst thing ever. Sitting out of that, having them offers on the table and
teasing you nearly.
Exactly, and knowing like how hard I'd worked, I was ready to reap the rewards of it. And then as I got back training for another fight schedule, I broke my right hand again. So that was 3, and the third time was the worst because I honestly thought my career was over.
Yeah.
Like at 19, I probably turned 20 at that stage. I thought I was never going to be able to fight again because I couldn't train.
Yeah.
I couldn't not break my hand. I wasn't even hitting hard. But then I ended up finding out that I wasn't taking enough recovery time, and that wasn't even my fault. That was the fault of the doctors.
Yeah.
Telling me, right, take 3 months. The first time I did, broke the other hand, different. They said, right, take 6 months this time, and I did. Well, 6 months to fight again, so I didn't start punching until like 5 months later.
Yeah.
And then I broke again, and then after the third time, as I say, I honestly thought my career was over. And that was so hard. That was the hardest thing in the world. And as I say, came back then, started training again, had another fight scheduled, and the same hand fractured again, number 4.
Yeah.
In the space of I think it was 13 months. But the fourth time, I almost accepted that I might never fight again.
Right.
So it wasn't as hard. Back from, because I sort of had the feeling of I might have to retire.
Yeah.
So if this heals, that's great, but if it doesn't,
I'm ready for it.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
And then very, very thankfully, my physio Paul McCormick, big shout out to Paul McCormick.
Come on, Paul.
Come on, Paul, that's right. He got me in with the top hand surgeon in the country.
Right.
And mate, I just was looked after so well, and he got me in 2 days after seeing him. And the surgeon, he's so busy, it takes months to book in with him, and he seen me in his lunch break, because Paul obviously, he owed Paul a favor or something like that. But he saw me in his lunch break, got me in front of everybody for the x-rays, and got the hand x-ray, and he goes, well, you're not going to be able to fight again if you let this heal naturally. He says, you're going to need surgery in this, you're going to need plates and screws in this to secure it, because the same thing's just going to happen again. And might I say, that was after I went to the fracture clinic, and they told me, no, healing it naturally is the best way. So I was going to sit for another year out and let it heal naturally. And then the top surgeon goes, you need this fixed immediately. And he got me in for surgery. Got me in for surgery 4 days after I met him, all through the NHS, straight to the top of the queue.
So potentially, like, you could have had that done after the first one, had you known?
100%. Had I known, had I had the proper guidance. I was just listening to the doctors, do you know what I mean?
I think that's like a good example, and it's not the fucking hate on doctors or anyone that's in that field, but you know, always get a second opinion or go to someone, because we had a lad in the gym, and he hurt his knee like a year or two ago, and came back and kind of rehabbed him up and was playing, moving well, and was always just having issues with it, and went to loads of different physios, and one was saying, oh, we don't know what's wrong, and another one says meniscus, and another one said it was a plate, and went back and forward, and there was really no like, there was no information further forward, but still was moving really well in the games. And then in a final championship game, twisted on it and went down, and went to I think went to a specialist. Specialist like, you've done the ACL, and the likelihood is you probably done it 2 years ago.
Oh my god.
So like that could have been sorted, you know, so much longer. And I think it's just a good example that even if somebody is a professional in their field, you know, just you double check these things. Like, but unfortunately, you only learn that through.
You learn it through the hard way.
Yeah, unfortunately. Like,
that's I've gotten to hear that there. But that happens way too often, unfortunately.
It happens all the time, but I think it is a good thing, you know, if you can get to a specialist if you have an injury, or if you're whatever it is, you know, physios and doctors are all obviously well intentioned, well educated, but sometimes information changes and research changes, like.
And look, and as I said, like I would have been in the same boat. I would have been sitting there for another year out, letting my hand in actually. If I wasn't so fortunate that Paul McCormick got me in with the top hand surgeon in the country, I would probably wouldn't be sitting here today, because I would have had to pack in fighting.
What do you think you would have done if you packed in fighting?
Oh Jesus, don't talk to me. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe went back to the GAA. No, I don't know. After turning professional and just setting my mind on it and just saying this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, I honestly don't know. Like I always had to think about it when I broke the hand at 13, and I didn't want to put too much thought into it, because to me, I don't like having plan Bs. I like only having a plan A, and that's it. And that's what I'm doing. So I
think like I get in the Q&As on Sunday, people will ask me like, what would you do if you weren't doing this? And I had actually no idea. You know, you sit and think, and then you're like, I don't even know what they're doing. There's nothing else that really goes. That's what I'd like to do if I wasn't doing this.
It is hard. It's hard to find. Like I actually was thinking about this last night, like how fortunate. I was writing a wee journal I write in at night, and I actually read how fortunate I was. It was like a wee gratitude journal. And I was writing about how great or how fortunate I am to have found a passion at such a young age. And I sort of thought, about the podcast we're doing today, and I was like thinking about you, and I was like just sort of thinking like we are very fortunate that we're so young and we know what we want to do. And then I thought like, why did I find it? Like what caused me to find this, and then what caused me to sort of say this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I was thinking it was what done it for me was getting out and traveling around the world and sort of seeing what else there is around the world and talking to other people in different fields, and then that sort of gives you the guidance of and the sort of realization of this is what I want to do. Do you know what I mean?
I think so. Like,
what about yourself? Like, how did you come to the realization?
I was really lucky. I have two older brothers, and they would be a good bit older than me. Like, so they were gymming away, and I would have maybe only been about 13 or 14 at the time. And I can still remember one day them coming to the living room and they were chatting about deadlifting. And one saying I deadlift this and that, and I didn't even fucking know what the deadlift was at this stage, because this is way before like gym going was a big thing. Like, and
like 10 years ago, or
I would have been probably. And I remember hearing that, being like, fuck, I want to be a part of that, because when you're a younger brother, you want to be like your two older brothers. And then eventually they took me to the gym, and I remember my brother put me down under a bench the first time, and I think I was 14, and it was just like, let's see how much you can bench. I benched 40 kilos. Felt like fucking on top of the world, and it seems like you said, it was just an addiction. I was going every night, and me and my cousin were going, and then it was like I was getting pretty big and people were noticing, and then I was starting to train ones in the football team when I was 17 in the garage.
Serious?
At my house, like not getting paid or anything. It was just like I wanted to share it, and I think, you know, after time, like it was as soon as I remember having thoughts in my head at that time when I went in, like, I'd love to have a gym, but like you know no one that's ever done that within the area or in your family, and it's like you don't really say it. But you're thinking. I remember my brother said to me one day, he's like, you should think about, you know, whenever you're older, open up a gym, and it was just like, you know, this is accepted, this is acceptable, and since that point, like my intentions have been work in the strength and conditioning field. Opening up a gym past year has been something that probably didn't expect to happen so soon, but you know, it's literally.
When did you open it? It was the start of the year.
it's been, the new place has been open since about 7 or 8 months now.
Great job.
But then the wee tin shed was
The wee tin shed.
the wee tin shed was about a year and a half ago.
That's official merchandise there.
Aye.
Official copyright.
Right. But I was just, I knew exactly from that young age that this is what I was going to go into, and there was nothing else that was even like, well, this is what you could do or not do. So
how was it training like people your own age and stuff like that when you were 17 in the shed? Like, were you taking like the football team as well?
It was strange. It goes 2 lads, and one
It's
of the
weird.
lads is still actually training in the gym now, like,
Alright.
and the other lad,
A Quinn strength OG then.
Quinn strength OG as far back as he can fucking go, and I loved it, like, and I think I realise now, and I realise it all the time, and it's probably the same for yourself. Whenever I'm working with in front of a team, or when I'm actually in coaching something in specific movements, you just don't think about anything else. Like, you're in this kind of void, and you're in this void, and nothing else.
Yeah.
You know, just in that second, everything sort of goes away, and I think that's the thing I really like about it. It's just that wee void, like.
100%. That's your flow state.
And that's it. And
That's it. That's the same as if I'm hitting pads or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what the flow state is. You're not, your mind is not wandering. It's just like meditation. Your mind's not wandering. It's just
it's
focused on a single thing, and time just goes by like that.
That's it, like, and I think you know, like, people will probably, you know, look at it and be like, you could look at sort of me setting up the gym and stuff and be like, what, fair play, that's impressive. But like, I was just, as you said, very fortunate that from 14 or 15, so like, people think, fuck, that happened in like a year. It's actually been nearly about 10 years now, you know, in the making, because I've been focusing on it for so long. And I think you're very fortunate when you find a passion whenever you're younger. But that, like, if anyone was to ever ask me for a fucking career advice, I would say, figure out what your passion is and go down that route. And if you don't know, take your time to, you know, figure it out. It's maybe something you already are doing.
That's it. If you could monetize it on your passion, like, you're one of the most fortunate people in the world. That's the way I see it.
I think so. You have to remind yourself that, though, because there's times you forget. But
100%.
It's fortunate, like, whenever you do have it.
100%.
And I think that's one of the reasons, like, we met up at the Talk in Belfast. It's up actually up on my YouTube, anyone that's listening. Go fucking watch it. But we had a good conversation. I thought your mindset was really good, and I hear you chatting about the journaling and meditation. Is your mindset something that you're working on a lot too?
Well, to me, like, as Dominic Cruz said, one of my favourite fighters and one of my inspirations, getting 3 injuries. He actually suffered 3 ACL injuries. He was the world champion, 3 ACL injuries, came back and beat the world champion in a 5-round fight. But as his quote, it was fighting is 90% mental and 10% in your head. Obviously, it's all in your head. Mindset is absolutely everything, especially in high level performance sports.
Especially something like that that's so individual as well.
100%. It's very, very individual. Of course, you have your team and all, but it's you in there whenever you're fighting in the cage. Do you know what I mean? To me, fighting is just literally a big game of self-awareness. It's like, who is the most self-aware fighter is the best, in my opinion, because you need to be constantly analysing your training, analysing what you're doing every day, how your week was, how you're sparring, why you're sparring this way. And you also need to be, you really, really need to get a check of your ego. Obviously there is ego involved in fighting, but there's certain amounts that are right. But like, you need to be, if you're just getting smoke blown up your hole, do you know what I mean? If you're the man in the gym, you're the top dog, and you're just going out and you're beating up everybody in the gym, that can give you a false sense of, I'm the man. You know, you need to be self-aware enough to look at your training and your surroundings and be able to say, I'm not doing this right, or I'm not doing this right. Do you know what I mean? Or I'm slacking here, or I'm slacking here. Because you might say slack in a certain area, but you're sort of naturally sort of better, say at jiu-jitsu, and you're sort of smashing everyone. Like, you need to be able to watch like a top fighter your weight and say, how would I go against him if we were to grapple right now? Do you know what I mean? Like, will he beat me? Because my ego can't be large enough to say, fuck it, do me not.
I can do anything. I'll walk in.
You need to be in constantly in check of your ego And yes, mindset is absolutely everything in fighting. Like it's the way I see it. Like anybody can come into a gym. Anybody can come in and have really, really good coaches, really good facilities, and really, really good trainer partners, world class trainer partners. And they might get to like an alright level in amateur or even professional. Because if you've got them surrounded, it's easy for you to grow. Do you know what I mean? If you've got really, really good guys in the gym, it's easy for you to build off that.
Yeah.
Whereas when it comes, excuse me, when it comes to high level, like world championship level, it doesn't matter who your training partners are, who your coaches are.
Yeah.
They might still be the best in the world, but it doesn't matter. It's literally a mindset game.
Yeah.
It's all a mindset game. It's getting through trainings. It's getting through the weeks that you don't want to do. It's getting through it when you're injured or when you're sick and you've got to fight in 3 weeks for a world title or on the top show in Europe. How do you get through that? It's all mindset. It's not physical.
Yeah, that's really. And then apart from actually the training you're doing, are you doing anything else like mindset wise? Like, do you do a bit of meditation, don't you?
100% meditation's been.
What is it like? What is, you know, are you doing 10 minutes every day, or what way does that look?
So at the minute, so I'm actually, it's funny because I'm probably excuse me, my voice is going a wee bit. I'm probably meditating the least I have in the past. I think I started maybe close enough to 4 years ago. Like as I say, so fortunate to just find these things at such a young age, and I think that was such an important thing of why I was able to turn professional at such a young age. But like as I say, it's funny because I'm probably meditating less now than I have in those 4 years. But the thing with meditation is like it's just a constant practice of it's so simple in theory. You're literally sitting down and you're focusing on your breath, and your breath is your anchor, and you focus on your breath, and when a thought arises in your mind, you just notice the thought, look at it for what it is, just another thought arising in consciousness, and then come back to your breath again. And your breath is like your anchor, so you're just thinking about focusing on your breath. When a thought comes, you realize that's just a thought, back to the breath. And when you come to the realization that that's what it is, like you can always bring yourself back to that state once you know what you're looking for in meditation. What you're looking for is awareness of thought. You're not looking for like some sort of zen state of mind that's like you can't get there. Like I've been in some amazing states, like in like I've done like silent retreats where I've literally been silent for a full week in Thailand in the mountains.
Been silent for a week?
For a full week, no phone, no books, no reading, no talking, no external stimuli.
Right.
It causes you to get in deeper into your mind, and once you sort of get them insights of
What was that like?
one of the best things I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah, because to say it's the insight that you get into the mind. It's like once you get that insight, you can bring that then into your everyday life, and that's why I'm probably not like I still meditate and I have my mindful like breaths throughout the day, but I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking to become more aware of my thoughts, and as I say about earlier about self-awareness, that's why I think my mindset's like ahead of anybody else in MMA. Like I honestly do.
Yeah, it seems like we've only chatted sort of once before this year, but you get an impression you seem very clued in for someone that's, you know, obviously it's not like you're not old and have had years and years and years to do this here. But like on the meditation thing, I've been doing yoga now a couple of months with Frank the Yoga in Dungiven. Big shout out Frank.
Shout out Frank.
But it's like we were doing it and he's trying to focus on the breath and all, and it's the fucking hardest thing in the world. And then like all these thoughts come in your head and like you're trying not to think about it, and then your head's away and you're like, fuck, I'm not supposed to be thinking about that, and then it's so difficult.
That's the misconception.
So difficult.
That people think I want to meditate because I want to clear my mind.
Yeah.
That's not like you don't start clearing your mind until you're fucking near Buddha level, you're enlightened.
He's telling me like you just accept it and let it pass, but you're like, right, fair enough, and then your head starts going again, but it's
you realise you've been lost in thought for about 3 minutes and you're like, what was I thinking about?
But even breathing properly, like I think I'd say about 99% of people don't breathe properly. you know, in terms of like the belly breathing and all, like I'm still learning about it.
Do you have people doing that in your gym and stuff?
Trying to, like I was trying to do it with the rugby team I'm working with. So like in between the runs.
Who's that you're working with?
Valley Rugby, Valley Rugby Club. Going good at the minute as well. But anyway, in between their runs, I would have them come in and do like sets of belly breathing. And like they do have a laugh whenever they're doing it, like, so they're always like, I would give them active rest, and active rest could be them fucking wrestling or something. But anytime I shout, they're like, can we do belly breathing? I'm like, right, you're just like this. But it's still like, you know, it's something I'm going to implement a few things this year, because it is just bring everything down so quickly, like
100%.
whenever you do it.
Especially after a hard session and the adrenaline's firing.
Yeah.
That's I find I train quite late at night. My last session doesn't finish till like after 9 o'clock.
Right.
So my adrenaline's firing, and I'll not be sleeping until like 12, 1, unless I do my belly breathing after. What I actually do is I do it in my car. On the way home, I just focus on the breath and just about 20 good solid deep long belly breaths, just to sort of. What's the theory of it? It's like down regulating, like your CNS.
And then just it probably just lowers everything, like the adrenaline, lowers the heart rate. But I think that's probably definitely a good shout after the session late at night.
100%.
But it's again, it's just trying to change your mindset on it, because you know, whenever you're a man and you're going to do something like this here, you feel a bit stupid.
Yeah.
But it's like anything, it just, you know, it's one of the things that'll probably in a couple of years we'll catch on a wee bit more, but it's just
100%.
It takes time. Like.
I personally, I think it's the most important thing. One of the most important things, skills that everybody should know. Like that's actually when you asked me earlier about what would I do after if I had to retire. I think I would have been too young to do it at the time, but whenever I retire from fighting, when I'm finished, like whatever age, 30, 35, like one thing I want to do is something I'm so passionate about is bringing meditation into like schools and secondary schools, primary schools, into gyms.
It's trying to bring it in like a more acceptable way, because the minute it's that very stereotypical.
100%. It's trying to find a way to make it cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what I really want to do with my platform in fighting is make it cool. To look after your mental health and all that there, because that's, to me, there's nothing more important than being not in control of your mind, but awareness of your own thoughts and self-awareness is the game for me.
So like I think you touched on it whenever you were doing that talk about mental health. It was like even mental health wise, it'll improve so much there too. Like, and then combine that with exercise. It's better than any fucking drug. Like
100%. I'm sure you see that people like in the gym all the time. People like every time you finish a session, like when are you ever feeling worse? That's like how are people not just working out every day? It's insane to me. Like it's actually insane to me that people don't train every day.
I had this conversation yesterday about, you know, training, how good it makes you feel, and like it is understandable. You know, I know it's very easy to sit and talk about, but if you're not in a good state mentally and you're not doing any exercise and you're eating shitty food on a repetitive cycle and you're not doing anything, you're just working, you're doing something you don't like to do, of course you're gonna be fucking feeling terrible. If you get down to the gym and you're socialising, you're feeling good, you're out of breath, you're sweating, like even whenever you're doing the running or the lifting, you feel like it's not that enjoyable, but afterwards you just get high.
That's 100%, that's what I'm doing it for.
But it's hard to take the step to do that, because I think people are just, you seek comfort.
100%, that's,
you know,
humans are like, that's.
You seek comfort, but it's not what we're designed to do. But it's easier said than done, I suppose, to try and get that way. Like.
But it's good to see, like, the way I see it is like, what I hope happens is, like as you said, like 10 years ago, like all this weights and strength conditioning wasn't really a big thing. Like 10 years is not a lot of time. Like if you look at history, like it's not a lot of time, and you look at how many more people are working out now. Like it's a pretty normal thing to do now. Like whereas even 10 years ago, it's like strength conditioning. Like what?
It was still like a 50-50 should we do it, should we not do it?
I hope that's how it comes now with the meditation.
I think it will.
And mindfulness. I really, really hope it does, because there honestly is nothing more important than understanding your mind.
I think it's definitely something that's not really talked about enough, or at least explained enough to people. People just still have misconception about it.
Yeah. Like how are teachers supposed to teach it in school when they don't have a fucking clue
What's it like?
I mean, that's what I really want to do. Like after fighting, I want to get like some sort of like a program or a charity or a business that comes in and people working know exactly what to say to kids. It's for certain ages and how to train them about their mind, because there's nothing more important. I keep saying it, but there's nothing more important than your mind. Your mind is the basis of every relationship where you have, every conversation you have, everything you do. Like, it's just so important.
Even career-wise and stuff too, like, you know, you're in a better place to make decisions. And
100%.
it's, I think it's one of the things, you know, people are very much tapping into the physical side of things, and people are more attuned to it, but it's that side of things needs to be brought up.
Yeah, but even if you look 5 years ago, like it's how much better it is, like the whole stigma around mental health, like
massively.
It's a lot better now. Like
it's massive. Like I think, and there's obviously so many more people are talking about it now, which is good. Like plays fullback for Tron. Forget the name. Anyway,
cut it.
Fuck me. Put that out. My bad. I'll remember it straight away here now. But he did a piece in Irish News, and he was chatting about, you know, dealing with depression and anxiety, and it was things like that, and people coming out and talking like that. And I think people on social media being a wee bit more open about it, I think it's important, because, you know, it's like anything. If you have a physical illness, you'll talk to somebody about it. But people are still, you know, alone if you're feeling bad anxiety wise, even if it's something, you know, small. But I think still being able to deal with it yourself and those, you know, learn how to meditate is an important thing. Because I find even whenever I would get anxiety around the gym, you just get in a wee circle of thoughts.
Yeah. And you get anxiety when you're coaching in the gym?
No,
just
not so much. Just more in like the actual, you know, admin side of things, and more in, Jesus, is this place going to stay open? Can I keep it viable? And even if there's no indication that's going to happen, your mind races on you.
That's just the sort of how your mind works. A better
you know, and I think as well it's a good thing because it pushes you to work, but at the same time it can be debilitating, like we're doing. But I'm now, you know, I feel like I'm a lot better at handling it. It just takes a bit of time, but I think one of the big things is, you know, the breathing and thinking about your thoughts a wee bit more and kind of letting them pass, and that's one of the things I think Hughes definitely helped me with. But it's
the attachment to thoughts, like that's the whole idea of Buddhist teaching. Like it's just the attachment that people have to things, do you know what I mean, and to thoughts. You're attached to, say, this freaking water. It's probably not a good example is this water bottle, but say this gym. This gym, like this is my gym, and if I ever lose this, I don't know what I'm going to do. Or attachment to thoughts, like I am Paul and I'm an MMA fighter, but what if I'm freaking have to retire? Like, what do I do? Who am I? Like attachment, and that's something that my injury actually taught me, is like I need to learn how to love myself outside of fighting.
And not just be the fighter.
Exactly. It's all well and good when you're training hard and you're fighting hard and there's loads of hype and everybody, oh, you're the man because you're the fighter, and everything's going great, but what happens when that's all taken away from you?
And there's not too many people still there, like.
And to me that is your attachment to yourself and to your ego. So it's like, that's one thing that my injury taught me, and that's one thing, like just obstacles in general can teach people, like as you were saying, like anxiety and stuff, but you're dealing with it better because you're facing the obstacle straight on, and that's how the obstacle becomes the way in the end. Like that's the way I see it. Like it's.
Yeah, I think so. Like it's but it's definitely, hopefully in the next couple of years that's becomes a bit more mainstream and people learn how to do it a wee bit more. But like it seems people are more open to things now, and I suppose only time will tell. So you've been signed to Cage Warriors there recently?
Yes.
Now, Cage Warriors is like, they would be pretty much under the umbrella of the UFC.
Yes, correct.
So if you're looking to fight on the UFC, you kind of want to be a champion in Cage Warriors.
Yes.
So you've just been signed to Cage Warriors now, so that's obviously the long-term goal, I'm guessing, is UFC.
100%. So like that's that pathway is set. Like I couldn't be any more fortunate, to be honest. Obviously it's the hard work that got me here, but so as you say, I'm signed to Cage Warriors, which is the largest promotion and longest running promotion in Europe. I mean, it's world renowned.
And that was where like McGregor obviously he started too. Like
McGregor was the champion at my weight class, so I'll be going for that belt. I will be winning that belt in the next 2 years, so that's obviously good for marketing.
Will be winning. I like that.
But there's no doubt in my mind. Like it's elimination of doubt is everything.
I'm bought in. I believe you.
100%. Like, do you see any doubt in my face?
I don't see the doubt.
Like
Anyone can watch on YouTube and see this.
If you want to see an elimination of doubt, it's fine. Just watch the post fight, my post fight interview in my last fight in Cage Warriors, and they're just interviewing me or whatever, and I just say at the very end of the interview, I just say, look right at the camera, and I say, I'm going to be a world champion. Do you see any doubt in my face? I'm going to be a world champion. And that was it. I've been saying that since I was 18. But I mean, it's not just something I've just in the last year. It's like I said that when I was 18, 19. But yes, Cage Warriors, they're the best promotion in Europe by far, one of the biggest in the world. And as you say, they're partnered with the UFC. They work directly with the UFC. So they basically, Cage Warriors are like the European talent scouts almost for the UFC. And if you become the world champion in Cage Warriors, you're basically, unless you're fucking 35 and you're past it and you've just beat a bum,
you will get a shot.
But if you're young and good, like you're going to the UFC, like it's simple, like it's done. The Cage Warriors have sent I think it was over 90 fighters to the UFC.
Really?
So like the statistics speak for themselves. Like, so the pathway's set for me. It's I'm saying now in a 5-fight contract, it's win them fights, get the world title, and be in the UFC in the next 2 years.
And would it take you 5 fights to get to the belt, or could you potentially get 1 or 2 fights and then they say we're going to give you a shot now?
So because I'm so young, and Cage Warriors are investing in me now. Like they're doing 2 shows in Belfast this year or next year. I'm a large part of that reason. Do you know what I mean? Because they know I have the Belfast following. Like although I'm from Derry, obviously I have the Derry following too, but I live and train in Belfast. Do you know what I mean? And that's where I've had 3 of my professional fights in Belfast. The first one in the SSE, where the Cage Warriors is coming back to, and then 2 in another place in Belfast. And there's been thousands of people there, and do you know what I mean? I have a good following here now. So just as I say, the pathway's set. I've got them Belfast shows next year, obviously me and Card, and when I get through them, I want to be ending the year next year 7-0. And then at the beginning of 2021 for world titles. And I would just love for that to be in Belfast as well. Because I know from inside info that the UFC want to come back to Ireland a couple of times in the next few years. So if they've got their talent scouts in Cage Warriors and that promotion, building me here in Belfast and the UK and Europe, like that's sort of what I'm visualising here at the minute. Is world title in Belfast and UFC.
And there wouldn't be too many Irish actually in the UFC, would there?
No. So the reason that is, there was a stage where there was maybe 6 or 7 Irish guys in the UFC. McGregor was obviously the first to get signed. That was mad. I remember his first fight. He was fighting in Sweden or something, and it was at like 3 p.m. during the day here because of the time change. Just got signed in a couple of weeks' notice. And I had him as like a friend and all Facebook. I was a really fanboy. This was maybe 5-6 years ago, and I remember when he won, I was just screaming the house down.
Really?
Because I couldn't believe that an Irish guy got signed to the UFC and won. Like to me, that was like an Irish guy going to the UFC first of all and actually winning. I was just like, holy!
It can be done.
It can be done. And then he kicked in the door then and at the time there was like 6 or 7 guys signed, but now there's no one apart from McGregor, and the reason is. That is like Cage Warriors was non-existent for maybe 2 years. They were massive, and I'm not sure what happened, but basically they had 2 years where they weren't putting on any shows. So the Irish fighters and the UK fighters, we had no platform. There really wasn't a platform for them to grow. There was a couple of other shows and they were good, but they didn't have as good a relationship with the UFC as Cage Warriors do. So there wasn't really a platform for the guys to build. But now Cage Warriors have been back a couple of years, and now, as I say, they're doing 3 shows in Ireland next year, 2 in Belfast. Like and there's some really good young talent in Ireland, like Joe McColgan, my teammate, and the likes of young Ian Gary as well. He's a Dublin guy, same age as myself. And that's what Cage Warriors are based in. And Reece McKee, obviously. Reece McKee will be fighting for a world title soon. Like they're based in there's these shows and us guys, like, so the pathway's set. I'm so fortunate, like.
Yeah, it's just executing it now.
That's it. It's executing, as you say, like, but the hard work, it hasn't stopped. You know what I mean? Nothing has changed. It's just going to be the same thing as I've done on my debut. It's just going to be work my ass off and freaking put on the performances. No doubt in my mind, like, and that's it.
This last few bit here at the things around the space, but we can add this here in.
Yeah.
So yeah, when are them fights in Belfast?
So I don't know the exact dates, but the first one is in May. I think it's 15th of May, in the SSE, and then the second one is in September. It's at the end of the last week of September. I don't know the actual dates, but so that's their 2 big ones, and I'll be out in March as well in either Manchester or London. I'm still waiting on a date to be confirmed. But I'm hoping London, because it's the same weekend as UFC London, in the same venue, same everything. So hopefully get that, and then I've got the 2 Belfast shows, so that's just sets me up perfectly for going for a world title in 2021.
Yeah.
So
and anybody that wants to check in, or where do they find you?
Simple, just Paul Hughes MMA, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the same tag. Give me a follow and.
What's the journey?
What's the journey? What's the journey?
Well, that was good. That was really good.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Wish you all the best over the next year.
So
we'll stay in touch. I'll come down and spar you.
We need that extra training partner.
But yeah, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Boom.
Cool. That was
done.
That's
good.
good.
Very good. How long was that?
That was about 50 minutes.
50.
There was a couple of wee times where it maybe like cut out, because this apparently says it's full space, but we got to enjoy it. But it's literally like we 2 couple-second clips, so we just have to put together, but it shouldn't like
Sure. I'm not having that. I don't mind.
I just hope we miss